I would like to introduce Dr. Habib Chamoun, who wrote this wonderful book, Negotiate Like a Phoenician. Wonderful book that explains a lot about negotiations from the time of King Hiram until today, actually, and how the Phoenicians did their trade through smart negotiations where they always left the other party happy as well. Dr. Habib Chamoun is professor of international negotiations and conflict management at different business schools in Houston, Europe, Mexico, and Latin America. He has researched the Phoenician way of negotiations and also of this book, as I mentioned, Negotiate Like a Phoenician. Professor Chamoun arrived this morning from Argentina, where he was presenting his new book, Transcend. He is the founder and honorary president of the Phoenician International Research Center. Dr. Chamoun, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you, and thank you, Hiram, like King Hiram, right? And thank you, Captain Philippe. Thank you for making this happen, Remy and Daniel. I'm really happy to be here, and everybody that is here. I will be very short. I'm just going to tell you that in my case, I'm so impressed myself with the Phoenician culture that after teaching the negotiation way of the Phoenicians, I just received a call like a month ago from a PhD in Spain that he's following the steps of the Negotiate Like a Phoenician, and he got a PhD. And then I have another PhD student in Vienna who he's studying the first globalization of the world. And he's not talking about our globalization, he's talking about the Phoenicians. So the interesting thing is that I've been teaching the Phoenician methodology not only in the US, but around like 100 countries. Somebody tell me in Russian, who were the Phoenicians? So they start digging around and understanding. So it's bringing that back to the present, going back to the principles. So that's the idea. And I'm not going to bore you a lot with the Negotiate Like a Phoenician book. But what I want to tell you is that in my research, I will say, and I tell everywhere in the world, that the Phoenicians need at least 3 Nobel Prizes. And I say at least 3 Nobel Prizes. The Phoenician culture. The first Nobel Prize is the Nobel Prize of Literature. Why? Because they invented the alphabet. And they gave it to the Greeks. They didn't charge them for that. And they took it all over. And thanks to them, we have an alphabet today. The second one will be the peace, the Nobel Prize of Peace. Why? Because it's the only civilization that conquered for more than 2,000 years the Mediterranean with no war, with commercial agreements. So Nobel Prize of Peace, and also the economy. Why the economy? That's what we study in the book. What we study is the Phoenicians, they didn't go and conquer the other cultures. They will make rich the culture. For instance, Malta. The Phoenicians will go to Malta, and instead of just making an exchange of something for something else, like, you know, what, bartering, instead of bartering, they did make them rich. In other words, if you make the other rich, then you become rich. The problem is that today, people just want to get rich without getting the other one rich. That's the problem. The Phoenicians were very abundant. So what they will do, they will give more than they receive. And that's what we're talking about them today. That's why for me, it's an honor to be here with this Phoenician ship and all of the surroundings, because it's bringing back the culture. Just to end, I will tell you that I was in Bogota, Colombia, in front of 400 Colombian Lebanese. I'm Mexican Lebanese myself, but I was in front of 400 women, Colombian Lebanese, like Shakira. Okay? And I was speechless. No, of course not. They gave me a book. And that book, it was Arabic Latinized, so that I can read it. And there was a phrase, which I will end today with that phrase, which is Amel emich ukeppel bacher, which means do well and throw it to the sea. Why? Because the sea is so extensive that they won't see you. Number one. Number two, for the same amplitude of the sea, you won't see them. They don't see you, you won't see them. Also, you will do well all your life, and that's not enough. You know, you can always do more because of the abundance of the sea. They won't see you, you won't see them. You continue doing well all your life. And third, the sea is dynamic, it's not static. So even if you don't expect anything, something will come back to you. Maybe not to you, to the next generation or to the next generation. That's called transgenerational. That's what I just wrote about the new book. How do you do negotiations that do an impact for the next generation? Thank you.